Have you ever promised to do something but never followed through? Maybe you told your parents you'd clean your room, your boss you'd finish that project, or your friend you'd definitely show up to their event. We've all been there, haven't we? But what matters more, our initial response or our final actions? Let's explore a fascinating parable Jesus shared that cuts right to the heart of this question. Picture yourself in ancient Jerusalem, where tension fills the air. Religious leaders challenge Jesus' authority in the temple courts, questioning his teachings and seeking to trap him. Instead of giving them a direct answer, Jesus responds with a powerful story about a father and his two sons. In this parable, a father approaches his first son with a simple request. "Son, go and work today in the vineyard." The son's immediate response is blunt and disrespectful. "I will not." However, something remarkable happens later. This son has a change of heart, regrets his harsh words, and goes to work in the vineyard after all. The father then goes to his second son with the same request. This son's response seems perfect on the surface. "I will, sir." His words are respectful, promising immediate obedience. Yet despite his polite answer, this son never actually goes to work in the vineyard. His promise remains empty, mere words without action. Jesus then turns to his audience and asks a penetrating question. Which of the two did what his father wanted? The answer seems obvious: the first son. Despite his initial defiance, his later actions proved more important than his words. The second son's polite promise meant nothing without follow-through. But this story goes deeper than a simple lesson about keeping promises. Jesus uses this parable to challenge the religious leaders of his day. He compares them to the second son, full of religious words and apparent respect for God, but lacking genuine obedience. Meanwhile, he likens tax collectors and prostitutes people society looked down upon to the first son. Though they initially lived in rebellion against God, many had genuine changes of heart and turned to follow him. Think about John the Baptist's ministry. When he preached repentance, many religious leaders dismissed his message while maintaining their appearance of righteousness. Yet tax collectors and other sinners recognized their need for change and responded with genuine repentance. Their actions proved more valuable than the empty words of their religious counterparts. This parable speaks volumes about authentic faith versus religious pretense. It's not about saying the right things or maintaining a godly appearance. True obedience springs from a transformed heart, even if the journey begins with resistance. God values genuine repentance and action over empty promises and hollow words. The story challenges us to examine our own lives. How often do we say yes to God while our actions say no? We might attend religious services, speak spiritual words, and make promises to God, but do our lives reflect genuine obedience? The parable reminds us that God sees beyond our words to our hearts and actions. Consider the first son's change of heart. What caused him to reverse his decision? Perhaps he reflected on his father's love and provision. Maybe he recognized the selfishness of his initial response. Whatever the reason, his story encourages us that it's never too late to change course and choose obedience. The second son's failure warns us about the danger of empty promises. His polite words might have pleased his father momentarily, but ultimately brought disappointment. It's a sobering reminder that God desires authentic relationship over religious performance. This parable's message resonates across centuries. Actions truly speak louder than words. In our relationship with God, genuine obedience matters more than eloquent prayers or religious knowledge. It's better to struggle honestly with God's commands and eventually obey than to offer quick promises we never fulfill. The story invites us to reflect on our own response to God's calling. Are we like the first son, perhaps initially resistant but ultimately obedient? Or do we resemble the second son, quick to say yes but slow to follow through? The parable challenges us to move beyond mere words to authentic action. Jesus concludes with a startling statement. Tax collectors and prostitutes are entering God's kingdom ahead of the religious leaders. Why? Because they recognized their need for change and responded with genuine repentance. Their actions proved their faith authentic, while the leaders' words remained empty. This timeless message reminds us that God's kingdom values authentic obedience over religious appearance. It's not about perfect words or immediate compliance, but about genuine heart transformation that leads to action. In the end, what matters most is not what we say, but what we do.